president, EDC in Kansas City, also the chairman and kind of founder, if you will, of Launch KC. Really quick, it's a global grant competition. We give $500,000 away every year, totally equity free, 10 companies. We also provide a year's worth of free offers, and a lot of other personal services and things that go along with this. Very fortunate, we've raised almost $1.4 million for this program in a little over 8 months. Folks like the Missouri Technology Corporation, UMB Commerce, the William T. Kemper Foundation, Salesforce, City, Kansas City. Lots of folks have been involved in making this happen. We're in our second year now. We've also got a national partner in Tech Week that I'll talk a little bit about. But it's a program, essentially, we have an application period that opens in spring, closes in the fall, and then each fall during Tech Week we actually do a live assessment. Not so different than what you just saw in A Million Cups, but quite a bit more in depth, that we actually assess the companies and select the winners. And so one of the things really quick to talk about this, why we decided to engage in this activity from a, not only kind of from an industry point of view, but from an economic development point of view. It's no secret in Kansas City, if you've read the Prosperity to Crossroads report that Mark put out for the region, Kansas City is a little behind the innovation curve. We're doing a lot of great things. There's a lot of entrepreneurial energy. There's a lot of wonderful things that we've got going on. But when you look at your peer cities across the country, normalized for population, patents per 10,000, business formation rates, things like that, can lag a little bit compared to some of the metropolitan areas that we would like to more acutely be akin to, if you will, like an Austin or a Minneapolis, who's got a large health concentration in terms of technology. So that was kind of an impetus point I wanted to bring up for this. Like I said, we are in our second year. Started this last year, so here's a quick snapshot of actually what happened last year. We opened the application period in late March. It ran through July, the first part of July, so companies actually could go in through the system, submit business plan, answer questions, submit the pitch video, and apply. We had almost 500 applicants, came from 17 different states, 8 different countries. A couple interesting facts: 16% of all the gross applications were women-led, so there are a lot of women who are out there founding companies in technology. Could be greater, but the good news is there are quite a few that are emerging. The other thing too, top industries that were represented in our application pool for the first year: mobile software, fintech, IoT, health technology, and ag tech actually being one that was really predominant as well. So we did kind of ask, it is an open application period in terms of, any business can apply, any opportunity. We do, because of the selection process and who we've got on the selection committee for this, it does slant a little bit towards things that are technical in nature, just because of kind of what we're looking for with things that are scalable, things that can access follow-on financing, quickly create revenue, and then the other part of it is obviously, latch on to strategic partners and customers. So with that, we also, like I mentioned, formed national partnerships. So early on, when we're doing this in Kansas City, we received some early grant funds. We raised some money from a couple foundations, UMB and Commerce especially, and we thought to ourselves, how can we make this bigger than Kansas City? How do we access a larger market? Because one of the things that's important is, if you're really going to try to attract the best and brightest entrepreneurs, and if you're really going to try to grow some of your own entrepreneurs who have good skill sets, you need to connect them to a network of folks that are really bigger than what we see normally in our metropolitan area. And so we created a partnership nationally with an organization called Tech Week. They're based out of Chicago. They specialize in doing large-scale week-long technology conferences around the country. So New York, LA, and Chicago are their big markets. Happy to kind of report on this last year. As a result of our partnership with them on this program, they brought their conference to Kansas City. We really kind of partnered everything from the competition all the way to the festival down to last fall. And so they're actually in Kansas City now for the next 5 years doing their conference. It's a wonderful organization, building communities through technologist entrepreneurship. The other piece too, take a quick look at their demographic. Almost 50% of the folks who attend their conferences are management, senior staff, C-level executives. You can see the size of companies that are represented. You take a look at kind of age and gender profiles as well, which is really healthy. In Kansas City, as I mentioned, this will be our second year. Last year, we were able to have just over 5,000 attendees first year, so the projection was 2,500. A lot of folks thought we'd be really successful if that happened. Had over 5,000. The projection for this year is actually to eclipse over 8,000. And as you can see at the bottom here, the $500,000 that we talked about. Companies like Bloom, actually I think the gentleman this morning who was leading the Million Cups kind of warm up there was actually a Blue employee. But Health ID, Integrated Roadways, KC Drone Company, Nodal Security, really interesting company out of Detroit. Good news to report on that one. They were one of our grant winners. They actually just got acquired 6 months afterwards by a Silicon Valley-based Internet of Things company called Luma Technologies. They're part of the 500 Startups group. Peakno, which is actually an international company in ag tech. SquareOffs, wonderful local company. Vertisense is out of New York. And Laura Stewart from VideoFizz. Laura Stewart's actually a Northlander. I believe she lives up in Kearney, but she's got a fantastic mobile app that she's created. She's been one of the pipeline fellows, and that's some different things. So that's a kind of a snapshot. We also, with this event, aside from the competition piece, we're bringing a lot of national speakers, a lot of folks like that. So you see, Jim McKelvey is co-founder of Square, Bill Briggs, the national CTO of Deloitte, Jonathan Bedeen from Tinder. I know for some of the younger folks in here, I think there's some swipe left, swipe right age group folks in here. It's beyond me, but you guys probably have that. And then we've got We Are Meant, which is a great women's group. The other piece too, I'll tell you, with this entire structure, it's all about content, activity, and then showcasing really the area's assets and what we have to offer in terms of not only speakers, spaces. They do office tours, they do all kinds of different things during the week, and there are a ton of evening parties. And when I say parties, they're networking events. So you'll see there's events that Uber's hosted. We've had events on the rooftop of the new One Light facility on the deck there, where the Jones Pool used to be, things like that. So they pride themselves on really bringing people together and doing it in a really nice environment. So lots of food, lots of drink, lots of interaction, if you will, with folks that you want to be connected to. So to kind of get back to the grant piece of it, entrepreneurs, economic development, talent. I mean, there's tons of folks who help with this. We've got about 17 different sponsors that the capital comes together from. Tech Week themselves. Tech Week's $100,000 sponsor themselves with this, so they invested in Kansas City to actually make these grant proceeds possible as part of the week. And this year, and actually just a quick snapshot here. This was last year. We had about 900 people who came for the actual final piece with the announcement of the winning companies. There were about 4,000 people in Union Station that day. About 900 of them was the max that you could get into the room that we had for this. But this was one of our grant winners, and actually the CEO of Tech Week there, Katie Lynch. So Pop Bookings is they won the popular vote. So one thing we did, I said we give 10 grants away. We actually left one of them up to live polling. So we actually, once we selected the 20 finalists that would present, we left one of them actually up to the crowd, which was kind of an interesting opportunity. So we had to make sure there was no server spoofing or things like that people do. So I know that there's a few folks in here who know about that. So that's just a quick snapshot of that from last year. It was a wonderful event. Here's a couple more. You can see all of our grant winners up there. They're holding their check in the media room, doing some of the different things they do. So in short, year one was a really, really big success. We've been very fortunate that all of our sponsors have multiple year commitments. They've done fantastic work for us in helping us. I expect the application period this year to be even bigger and have an even broader reach. The website for this is launchkc.org. It's really simple, easy to find. There's tons of information on there. You can also check out any of the social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter. It's launch_KC. You can check out the Twitter handle. There's a lot of information that's out there as well. This year in 2016, the application period for this is going to open April 1st. And so it's an open call April 1st. You can log on to the website. It will take you through a portal to a custom software that we created. Actually, the Profit Foundation helped us with one of their old iStart software. We customized it for this competition. But you'll be able to access it April 1st. It's 25 questions. It's a 2-minute pitch video. It's financial projections, bios on team, all the usual stuff you would see from somebody who's really looking to assess a company. Like I said, we give the money away. It's non-dilutive. It's totally a grant. So no equity considerations to be had. Our goal is to obviously grow the prize pool. I think our sponsors and our funders, I think that's the long run for this, is inevitably to have some bigger prizes and make even a little more noise here in Kansas City with what we're doing. So it closes July 6th, so it's got a 90-day window for that. So April 1 to July 6th, about 93 days. And then our selection committee, last but kind of not least with this, our selection committee is comprised of civic leaders, investment bankers from all over the country, folks like Drive Capital, Menlo Ventures, Guild Capital, groups like that that are out, the Mercury Fund down in Houston. They all take time out of their day to actually assess some of these companies and opportunities. We also have traditional banks. Anybody who has any business acumen with regard to being able to assess the viability, one, of the technology, or two, the financial background of this, are folks we look at for the selection committee. And then we actually select 20 finalists. We fly those folks in, put them up in a hotel if they're not from Kansas City, and then they actually do their live final pitching, like I said, during the final day of Tech Week when we're here. And so last year we had about 2,500 people hear the finals pitches, and like I said, about that 900 to 1,000 that actually stuck around to see who won. So it's a wonderful program. I'll try to be as brief as I can. If anybody's got any questions, I'm happy to answer them if I've got them.
I have a question on the grant recipients.
Yeah.
I may have misunderstood it. Was there a requirement that they spend the year in Kansas City?
There is a requirement, and we make it pretty easy because we actually give them the office. And so a couple things I'll tell you. I mentioned a lot of our sponsors. One that I didn't mention, so Lead Bank is another sponsor, Think Big Partners, and the Sprint Accelerator, and they have all generously offered up free offices for these folks who are from out of town that do need to come in and meet that requirement. The goal, obviously, is they stay, create jobs, and do that. Happy to report that quite a few of those are. We've actually got companies like Health ID and Vertisense who have already added 3 or 4 jobs here locally in the market. But yeah, we do have a requirement that they stay.
In Kansas City proper or in the metro?
Right now in Kansas City proper. That's because of where our funding is from. Now in the future, that may be, as we grow the program, that may be something we look at. Because obviously things like this, as they achieve scale, it gets to be a matter of how much capacity you can have. So, anybody else have any questions?
What were the prize amounts?
Last year we gave $50,000 to each of the 10 grant winners. This year we plan to do the same, but there will be some surprises that will come out. You'll hear about it in the Business Journal and some things here in a couple months. There may be some special sponsors who make that prize pool a little bigger. So.
How about involved before the first?
I'm sorry. What you can do between now and then, that's a really good question. So I'll tell you, if you go to the website, there's several contact information. One of the easiest one is there's a competition email. If you just want to, if anybody has any questions about applying or anything like that, you can email me. I know Rich has got my contact, but you can also go online. It's competition@launchkc.org or info@launchkc.org. Either email address, we'll take that back. But happy to share with anybody insights on the successful companies last year, kind of what they did with applications. Anybody wants to get a head start on that. The pitch video piece of it is really, it's something that a lot of folks in other parts of the country don't require. We really require it just because of the fact that, I think a lot of folks in this room understand that you can have the greatest idea in the world, but you can't sell it, you can't execute on the opportunity. You kind of got to be able to stand and deliver. And so we do provide some resources to help shoot those pitch videos and make sure that they're appropriate, that they're on time, and that they get done. So.
My understanding, this is an open competition. Do you ever see specializing in categories? Specifically, I have high school students, and by the way, a number of them attended the program last year and loved it, so thank you.
Well,
we have kids interning with Video Fizz out of that, so thank you very much. But do you ever see an opportunity where students who are in this world but not quite there yet would have an opportunity to fit?
I will tell you that I would love to see a student challenge. So this is kind of an aside, but how many of you all have heard of the Cisco Smart Connected Cities program that's going on down? So there may be a competitive opportunity that comes out of that that may have a specialized category for high school folks, maybe to create the next idea or concept that comes out of that. But that being said, I do think at a certain point for us, it would be as we grow. I think it would be something, maybe doing a high school specific challenge would be something that would be fun. And I think it's only time and money, as folks say, and so it's good. It's good for the students, helps encourage the opportunity. I think it's something we want to look at.